Origin Song Sushi Reacts, and this is How Did Europe Explorers Speak to Newly Discovered Natives? By the channel History Matters. This is pretty interesting topic because I've never heard anyone talk about this. This is like a, details that nobody talks about, right? Europeans went to different countries and colonized them. Okay, what specifically they did when they landed there? How did they talk to the natives? This is interesting because I remember a story of Columbus. Yeah, Columbus, where he basically was going somewhere and basically came upon a tribe where basically he just told them that, I need your, stores of grains or whatever, food, basically, food supplies, right? And these tribes basically just stored enough where they can survive. They didn't have any reserves. So they said, we can't give you anything. We don't have reserves. But Columbus badly wanted that, basically all the, food and things like that. He could have gone back a bit, right? I mean, knowing, oh, look at that, natives are speaking the truth. How they're going to survive? They'll probably starve if I take this food. So he could have done something, but no, it's just going forward. So basically, he duped them by telling them that my God is more powerful than your God, and if you don't give me food, I'll make the sun disappear. He knew the eclipse is coming, right? So he said this is the time where the sun will disappear. Obviously, it did, and every tribe members basically got afraid and gave him the food. Nobody knows what happened to Troy after that, and he just fucked up. But that's the point. Like, how did he communicate? What language did he use? And when he basically discovered America and all the other explorers went to different parts of the world, what language did they speak? So this is going to be interesting. Normally, when traveling to new lands, European explorers would use traders from states along the way to translate for them on their arrival. Yet when Columbus made his way to the Americas, there were no such people on the way. Seriously. So how did Columbus communicate with Native Americans? To find out was this short. I mean, seriously, you can find a lot of bad stories about Columbus. But one thing's for damn sure, that man basically went to Americas, found a way to communicate with people, and basically, just put all the Spanish flags here and there, and just basically did things like that. So that just takes certain skills, right? I mean, just not anybody can do it. He was the one to do it, and so he did. So it's going to be interesting how he did it. Although History Matters, because History Matters basically explain things in short period. This is just 2.5 minute video. He's just going to explain this 2.5 minutes. Yeah. So I guess YouTube Shorts thing that is new, which is just short videos, like a minute or so videos. Yeah, History Matters has been doing that for a long time. So let's watch it.
When European sailors reached the New World, they soon came across the native peoples there. And these people had no idea of a Europe existing.
You're Indians, right? No, what? No, we're not Indian. You're Indians.
Let alone any idea of how to speak to a person from there. But as you'll know, contact was made, and in many cases, complicated arrangements were negotiated between Europeans and natives. But given that there were no interpreters when Europeans first arrived, this raises a question. How did they communicate? How did European explorers talk to natives? So, generally speaking, when a culture makes contact with another, there's normally people along the way who can be used as interpreters. When colonizing Africa, Europeans would often bring Arabic-speaking peoples with them to translate. This was because sea trade had linked North Africa with the South for centuries, and in the larger kingdoms there would be people at ports who could speak Arabic. However, with the Atlantic Ocean and those living on the other side of it, there was none of that. So how did, say, Christopher Columbus communicate with the natives he met on Hispaniola when he arrived there in 1492? Well, for this, they used the only correct form of communication. They used signs. Now, this was mostly sign language, like pointing to things and saying its name or acting something out and then saying the word for it. But they would also make crude...
Man, I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, you see this is this. I mean, sign language, right? I mean, before the language was a thing, it was basically sign. If you go really in the past, thousands of years back, you find languages in form of signs, right? It makes sense. So he used sign language. I mean, you think like that's pretty simplistic, but like I said, it's not an easy thing to do, right? Communicate with somebody who doesn't even understand anything. Right? So he basically said, do you understand this? Do you understand? No, this is a gun. Do you understand it now?
Drawings as things became more complicated. This covered most of the basics, like food, shelter, Jesus, gold, and boats, but any complicated discussions would require a full translator.
The 5 main thing.
And since it would be pretty difficult to ask a native using a sign if they'd like to get on this ship and head back to Spain over an ocean for an immersive crash course in Spanish so he can act as the translator in the future for us, they settled for another option: kidnap. Unfortunately for Columbus and the natives he'd taken, they didn't survive very long because disease. So how did this change long term? Well, after this, the Spanish would capture natives and they'd keep them in the region to learn the language so there was less dying. Another way was that some Spanish ships became shipwrecked and those who survived would be taken as slaves by the natives and would soon learn their languages and could act as interpreters on behalf of the Native American rulers.
What?
And once Spaniards and natives knew one or two languages...
This sounds like a plot from some Hollywood movie, but I guess it makes sense when the trading is its highest. Oh, look at that, we found a new land, new continent. Obviously, there's going to be back and forth a lot. So during that, yeah, some shipwreck happened, and obviously, knowing how Europeans kidnap the local, they're not going to be very friendly to anybody you come across. Just capture them, learn the language, and yeah, it makes sense. They become a translator.
The rest was fairly simple, since it simply meant stringing translators together to communicate. And it was after this short period that communication just became the same as it was anywhere else in the world. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for watching, with a special thanks to my patrons, James Bizanet, Mr. Wolf, Kelly Moneymaker, Sky Chappelle, Rob D. Martin, Captain Psydog, Marvin Cassow, Mo, Aaron the White, Adam Stolter, Jordan Longley, Boogly Woogly, Gustav Swan, Jerry Lambdin, Copper Tone, Winston Kaywood.
Alright, so are those Spanish king or something? This is Columbus, is that what it is? Why does he look concerned though? What the... Oh, there we go. Why does the eyebrows look concerned? I'm pretty sure I've seen this end photo before in one of the videos, right? I don't know. Somebody just say in the comments what this photo is all about. But yeah. So, Columbus basically went to the Americas thinking that he found India. Like, they were trying to find new route to India, basically, right? Because we all know it's already hard enough, right? You need to take canal from Egypt right today to get to the eastern side Indian Ocean, right? Otherwise, it's a long wave from South Africa. So they were trying to find a new way to India. They're basically global maps. Like somebody in Europe basically draw it up, thinking that this must be the case, seeing the stars, and obviously it was off. So he thought where the Americas is where they're gonna find India. So basically, their vision was very small Earth. Because you have to go through entire Americas and then the massive Pacific Ocean before you reach the Asia, right? From there you can reach India. So basically the coordinates said where the Americas is, where should be that's where India should be, which makes it a really small planet. But that's what they thought. And once they realized that this is not India, somebody else, some other country, obviously they're going to have the dollar sign in their eyes. And they did some heinous shit here and there, and in the end, there you go. We know the history. So yeah, right, people. That's how did Columbus, not just Europe, but Columbus, speak to newly discovered natives. By the channel History Matters. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time.